always sort of felt held back, if that makes sense. Like I was always looking at other DJs that were in the same sort of sound or universe, whatever, and I'm like, why are they succeeding in that way, and why is it not working for me? For me, for me, for me, for me, for me.
Isn't it crazy that a DJ like Mao P, who has over 4 million monthly listeners and collabs with some of the biggest artists in the world, was at the exact same spot you are probably at right now, literally about 2 to 3 years ago? So, what clicked? So, in order to find out exactly how Mao P seemed to blow up in what seems like 2 to 3 years, I took a deep dive into the history of Mao P to figure out the exact strategies and came up with a formula that is really not exclusive to him. I'm seeing so many other DJs and producers using this formula and getting similar results. But in order to find out exactly how it worked for him, you need to know that before Mao P, there was Maurice West.
Let's take it back to when you first started releasing music. Maurice West.
Yeah.
The original kind of the
I
DJ.
almost forgot.
Now, to be fair, Maurice West, which was Mao P's first project, was actually pretty successful. He landed some pretty big collabs with artists like Hardwell and Kashmir, but there was a massive problem.
So I showed my my booking agency, my agents, and Julius. I showed them like a folder of 10 songs, which was probably like some of the stuff that got released last year, like Drugs from Amsterdam, Give Me That Bounce, Metro. Like the early versions of those songs were in there. And the booking agents were like, we can never sell this on a lineup with, you can never be on a lineup as Maurice West with like all of these other DJs that you adore.
Now, that sucks to hear as an artist, I'm not gonna lie. And it sucks even more that he's coming off of the backs of some really big collabs with Hardwell and Kashmir. But the harsh truth is that as big as Hardwell and Kashmir are, their sound is dying.
How do you feel about like Big Room as a genre? Because some people are saying like it's going out, or it's like, what do you think is the future with like the genre that you produce, for example?
Well, I think Big Room's actually got to make a really big comeback.
Yeah.
Because like the Big Room market was really oversaturated. And like
Right.
you could just take a sub kick and throw some random sound on it,
Yeah.
and it would be a song. Like it would get like 2 million views on YouTube
Yeah.
or whatever.
Now you're probably thinking, oh, well, obviously he has to change his name and then start changing the style of music to what's trending now, and then boom, easy. But if it was really that easy, then everyone would do it. Now Mao P actually went even deeper. So if you didn't know, Mao P is Dutch, and the Netherlands is a staple in electronic music. And with most of the biggest names in EDM and some of the biggest techno festivals like Awakenings taking place in the Netherlands, electronic music isn't just a genre there. It's a part of the cultural fabric. But just because a country has a rich history in dance music doesn't mean that every artist will succeed by following the same formula. Mao P saw that the electronic scene was evolving, and instead of fighting it, he pivoted towards something that was already woven into Dutch nightlife.
And then after that happened, I just sort of became, I don't want to say careless, but like a little bit more freestyle or something. And I just tried making like more house techno orientated stuff because it was COVID and that's the only thing I was hearing at like these illegal house parties, whatever. Because no one in Amsterdam was like playing Big Room or whatever anymore for a couple of years already.
Now, Mao P wasn't just following a trend, he was absorbing everything that was happening around him. In Amsterdam, techno and house music weren't just genres, they were part of the city's identity. And after years of being known for big melodic sounds, he started experimenting with something new.
I mean, you have to be really well informed and like have knowledge of what was in the past. Like for me, culturally, Drugs from Amsterdam sounded like 90s rave. That was sort of the inspiration, like with the stabs and the super saws and the, you know, and it was that mixed with modern day tech house. So that to me was really fresh. I was being very like calculated, but not restrained.
And this is the secret to reinvention. It's not about abandoning what made you who you are, but it's more about reshaping it to fit the world today. Mau P took the energy of Big Room, the big synths and the festival-ready sounds, and mixed it with the raw, hypnotic feel of techno and acid house. Now, it was familiar, but it was also fresh, and it was exactly what made his reinvention from Maurice West to Mau P so successful.
The only thing I was making all of those years before that was that kind of sound. But then I found just the coolest way to like have that in a really small section of the song and give it to them for like a really small like moment. They're like, ah, and then it's gone. And then the drop feels like smaller than that part, you know? So that's when I was like, oh, there's like magic in this somehow.
All right, so the formula. Mau P leaned into his unfair advantage of his culture, Amsterdam's long-standing love for techno and acid house. He understood the timing. Big Room had obviously faded, and tech house was steadily on the rise. And 3, he was able to add his own unique touch, finding places to blend a large Big Room sound into parts of a deep underground tech house track. All right, but this approach to reinvention isn't just limited to the Netherlands, because you see, on the whole other side of the world in Chile, a DJ and producer has been making waves following the exact same formula. So much like Mau P, Sistek has combined his cultural background with the right moments in music trends. So here's how he fits into the formula. Sistek leverages his Hispanic roots by remixing Spanish tracks and infusing a Latin Afro house sound that's just uniquely his. He then recognized that Afro house was on the rise and people were hungry for something new. But now anyone can make Afro house, but by adding a unique sound design. For example, his lead synth that is just so uniquely his. He's not able to just follow the trends, he's able to carve his own path. So before the Sistek we know today, the big Afro house DJ, he was pretty successful to be fair, but he just wasn't really a staple in a specific genre of electronic music. Now, for most, it can be pretty clear on how to incorporate your culture and timing, but how do you find your unique touch? How do you find the secret ingredient that will set your music apart from everyone else? Now, if you haven't found your unique touch, I recommend you watch this video here, which breaks down exactly how Dom Dolla found his unique touch and how you can find your unique touch as well.